right. Hello, everybody. You're welcome to the Learning Series 3.0, courtesy of the Feed the Future Nigeria Rural Resilience Activity, funded by the United States Agency for International Development. This learning series is coming courtesy of also a consortium partnership between Mexico, Save the Children, and IFDC. And the Feed the Future project is being implemented in the Northeast, precisely in Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, and Gombe states. In the previous editions, we've looked at learnings from the livestock sector, what the activity has, how innovatively they've revolutionized the livestock feed and production sector in the Northeast. And in the 2.0, we also looked at learnings that are coming out from the nutrition sensitive agriculture and how it is helping to address issues of malnutrition. Today, our focus is optimizing grain aggregation and trade, a strengthening grain system for market and household resilience. By the way, my name is Kevin Alufe. I will be your anchor for this event, and I will be joined by two of my colleagues. I will introduce them very shortly. But just to give like a background to this topic, the grain aggregation and trade sector of the Nigerian economy or every other economy that is in the world is a very important sector where that shows the level of productivity and also economic transactions that happen within the locations where those kind of activities take place. The grain aggregation and trade in the Northeast has continued to grapple with several challenges. And these challenges are coming as a result of some disruptions that have happened in the Northeast with respect to insurgency, banditry, and also effects of also climate. These challenges include scattered volumes of grains, restricted access, issues under standardization, and also elevated transactional costs that with respect to buyers and sellers of grains. These challenges also tend to limit sincere buyers, typically who prefer large quantity, who deal in grains, and also for smallholder farmers who are part of that value chain, which has to do with the disadvantage of bargaining on their position, and also rendering them vulnerable. So for us, an effective grain aggregation and trade transaction is important to serve vital sources of income for farming households and play a significant role in determining the commercial viability of the grain market, which speaks largely to a larger economy. So with this learning series, we'll be gaining more insight into how the rural resilience activity was able to intervene in the grain aggregation and trade market. We'll be asking around behaviors. We'll also be looking at the kind of collaborations that have taken place that has seen the kind of strengthened impact, that's seen the strengthened grain aggregation system that is also impacting on the livelihoods of household, and also probably also look at what development professionals and organizations need to do while going into intervening in grain aggregation and trade. Like I said, I have two colleagues here who are experts on this field, and I always say in all my learning series, they are on the ground professionals. I have Mohammed Abubakar, who leads the grain aggregation and trade intervention. Also supporting him also in that intervention is Moses Nansel, who is also a colleague on the on the activity. Like I said, it's not by coercion. Both of them have BS, and this shows that they have been on the ground. And these are very good guys who have wealth of experience also in intervening in this place. So I'll, Mohammed, if you can hear me, and Nansel, just say hi so that we know that we can hear you.
Hi, Kelvin. I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, Mohammed, can you hear me? Okay. Mohammed, your mic seems to be mute. I think I should be the one to ask you. Your mic is still mute. We can still hear you. All right. I will go ahead. Nansel, you can basically give me, although I'll get some thoughts from Mohammed. What are your thoughts concerning? I know you came into the Northeast with a particular intervention to do.
Can you hear me now, Kelvin?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, I'll get back to you in a minute. What are your thoughts or what did you see on ground when you came to intervene in the grain and aggregation sector of the Northeast? What did you see?
All right. Thank you, Kelvin, for that question then. Intervention, when we came in to the Northeast, look at some challenges then. First and foremost, now we look at grain storage facilities. And now, when we look at the second one, and we look at the grain pattern, the trade pattern, the 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 grain merchants now, the market linkage was not really there. For the grain aggregators then. So we look at those two things. I think Mohammed will add more to that then. So now the first and foremost now we so look at the grain storage. We look at how those grain merchants store their grains. First and foremost now we now look at it now. Yeah, we have a ban on export some of our grain, especially around cowpea, which is one of the highly susceptible grain when it comes to pests. Let's attack them. How do we attack? How do we take care of that? When we look at it as an intervention now, how do we now educate to share the knowledge, create awareness, those grain merchants now? This is the way they are doing it. But if they are doing it well, but we have an international ban on it, in the way they are doing it. Then we came up with two interventions. One, secondly, around the use of cocoon, which is the high volume storage facilities. Then the use of the fixed bag, whereby they can store their grains without using any chemical. This has a residual effect because around the ban now, yeah, the merchant now store their grains. Now during export, you have the grain cannot scale through the residual effect test, whereby now they already store those grains chemicals. So that's the two things. Then the second one now, yeah, they have a very large market. How do they store it? They store it using chemicals, which I am Mohammed. I visit so many of them doing it. And what we see them doing it, I mean, me and Mohammed will just overlook it. See if we don't even see them doing it. But how do we take care of it? We now came up with an intervention whereby now, if this large volume of grain, especially cowpea, chemical residual effect, then now let's whereby now our cocoa is 5,000 metric bags.
All right, Nansel, just hold it there. I know you've started touching on some very salient points. Mohammed, if you can hear me clearly,
I can hear you.
just to what do you think that, like I said in my intro, insurgency also played a very key role in and the disruptive grain system that we see in the Northeast. To what extent do you think the impact of insurgency, climate change, and probably banditry at some point also affected the grain aggregation and trade in the region?
Okay, thank you very much, Calvin, for that elaborate introduction. Not just the banditry or the insurgencies affected the grain trade. However, there are other things. Banditry and insurgency would affect farmers going to their farms. And if they can't go to their farms, it means they cannot actually do these farming activities. And also it limited transportation, movement of these grains from one region of the Northeast to another. But those weren't actually the main challenges in trading of staple commodities, which are grains in the Northeast. The main challenges were actually standards, basically measurement and equality, which affected sales. Other ones included access to higher market value, which actually the insurgency could impact on it. But basically what impacted on access to higher market value was still one, which is still the limited, which was limited by poor standards. Also purchasing power. You know, when you don't have the purchasing power to meet up with the demands of the off-takers, it affects your access to the higher market value. Also, other challenges that were really serious, it looked trivial, but it's serious, was record keepings, because record keeping created barriers to accessing credit and working capital, which also still affected the access to higher market value. So also last and one of the most important was the pre and post harvest handling or management, which impacted greatly on losses due to their poor handling, so they couldn't sell quality grains. Also low adaptation of modern storage technologies. They were not being used. Nansel has touched on that a bit about using the weighing machines, the weighing scales, moisture meters to check the right moisture and quality. Also, using just the simplest of storage, which is the pit bags. They were not being used, and they tended to use and apply agrochemicals for the storage of their grains. This won't pass through for high-level off-takers and processors who feel they have to do much work to process these grains, and in turn, it increases the cost to get these end goods to their consumers. So these were actually the main challenges we saw, and it's still, we are really trying to change. It's a behavioral thing. So this is what we worked on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Mohammed, you started talking on where that's a good point to take the next question, where you're talking about change behavior. For me, how well, with whatever you've done, you and your team have done in that intervention, how well have you triggered that behavior, that expected behavior you want to see, and that is seeing the kind of incremental or large volume of grain trade within those regions where you are working? What are those specific behaviors that you have also triggered among those market players in that sector?
Okay, thank you very much. Having highlighted the challenges we faced when we started this intervention and when this intervention gave birth, we decided that, okay, since it's a market systems development approach, we don't basically enforce a lot of things. We facilitate. So we came with a four-level solution where we would come with this and interact with most of these market stakeholders. And we started at the aggregation association level, where we had to go to the various markets, starting with the major markets, so those markets could influence the others, starting with the main stakeholders, so those ones could be a source of influence to the others. And we wanted to create relationships, which we started creating relationships with these associations across the BG states. basically, first of all, is to validate what we thought were the challenges. It's not about assumption. It's for us to understand. We could assume and start implementing, and at the end, we'll come and find out this is not what their main challenges were. So we wanted to validate what we thought were challenges in the first place. And when we finished validating, and we were sure that, okay, most of what we were thinking was what was affecting the trade of staple grains in the northeastern part of Nigeria, then we started with the first thing was to create linkages. We started creating linkages. First, we have met individual associations across the state. Now let's link these associations across. So we facilitated a business-to-business meetings with between grain dealers to create relationships that has not been created before. And for the ones that were created before, let's see how we can deepen the existing ones, because we know that trust is very, very important in business. And trust actually gives rise to increased business transactions. So we started after those meetings, when we brought different leads from different markets across the Beiji states, then we created a platform to bridge distance and to see a faster way for them to relate and trade their goods. So just a simple WhatsApp platform. And immediately, these guys started trading on those platforms. We started solving some issues. Then we said, it's not just between these guys now. Let's spread it across. Then we went ahead to follow it up with a business to customer linkage meeting on great trading. Now, the customers are not customers. I said, these customers now are your large off-takers, your processors, the private partners, and the government stakeholders. Why we wanted to do this is because let everyone try to understand market preferences of these customers. I've explained who the customers are. Let these grain dealers also amplify network opportunities amongst themselves and these customers too. Let them deepen trading relationships too. That was what we were trying to. And most important, we knew that this whole thing, we know our life of our program, and we knew it was not going to be forever. We wanted sustainability, and the best set of people to promote sustainability was the government stakeholders and the private stakeholders who will see business in those locations and keep coming there to do businesses. For the government part, we wanted to make them understand that there was a department called the produce department who was responsible for sustainable grading of commodities in the market. We had to now make them involved, because you know the way governments are, they were a bit docile and a bit laid back about what they were supposed to do. So this came to life, and that was what we did. Then at the third level, you've done the linkage part. You now had to do capacity building for these grain dealers to meet up with what you have seen were challenges. So we started with capacity buildings, where we now did a roundtable meeting on standards, record keeping, and post-harvest management. We highlighted the importance of what grain quality is to a profitable grain trading. We also went as far as to bring in a regional, we started involving the government. We brought in a regional produce director who came in to train most of the leads of the various grain markets on the grading, packaging, storing, everything. And these guys went down to do a step-down training for their members in the market. You see, they're now cascading the knowledge down, because only them cannot get the knowledge alone. They have to cascade the knowledge down so everyone can be carried along. So this behavioral change, even though it will be gradual, let it be spread. So, and we now further engage the government stakeholders, that we ensure that the produce inspectors in the market and the EAs were responsible for this step down. And they did it in such a way, the EAs, EAs are mainly for smallholder farmers. You ask, why am I bringing in smallholder farmers to this? Because standards and quality starts from the farm level. We have residual chemicals or herbicides that are used in the farm. If they don't know how to properly apply these things, it comes in to the final products. Then we talk about the aggregators. When we talk about when they want to use agrochemicals to store, or they don't like to use weighing machines for their measurements or proper quality of their grains where they have to use moisture meters to check. So we wanted this thing to be at both the farm level and the open market gates. This change. So that was what we did. And also a market quality improvement team was formed that included government stakeholders, the leaders of this market who would enforce and ensure that these standards are maintained in the market. The fourth level was now a short-run support. Now you have engaged with the aggregation association, you have done linkages, you've done capacity building, but we know we met, Kelvin, you've talked about how insurgency and other things has impacted on these businesses. We knew we met the market in crisis. What did we have to do? We wanted to do a short-run support, not with monetary value, but with equipment. So we went with productivity tools, we went with cocoons, we went with pit bags, and in turn, when we did this, with proper training on how to use them, let them understand how this affects their business, we saw that post-harvest losses reduced by 30%, and also 40% revenue was increased by 40% because they stopped using chemicals. Usage of chemicals dropped, so sales increased. Adoption of post-harvest storage techniques increased. So people were ready, off-takers and processors were ready to buy these grains in from this market because of the level of management and quality that was put in. So we saw that sales for these aggregators through our facilitation increased from about 7,000 plus metric tons to about 26,000 plus metric tons of sales for the aggregators through our facilitation. Then our initial first partner that we engaged, GAIL, GAIL, a subsidiary of Flour Mills, the linkages we made with GAILs and this these aggregators was able to bring back to about an aggregation of about 41,000 plus metric tons. Thank you very much. This is just a little we did at the first stage.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nancy, I saw your hand up. I'll come back to you very, very shortly. Mohammed, you have started talking about, I hear you very clearly talking about stakeholders that you also worked with. And it's also important to bring to bear the importance of collaboration with very key market players. For me, very quickly, how has that collaboration that you, with those key stakeholders you worked with within that sector, how did this strengthen the grain supply system overall? Just very quickly.
Okay, thank you. This is no less thankful to the EIF department, who understood that we could not do it alone. Direct implementation could not do it alone. So what we did was that we started engaging private stakeholders, and we started de-risking their investment for them to see incentives to come into the Northeast and work with most of these aggregators. Basically, because, as I've said, they are agents of sustainability, and the more they're involved with this, working with these guys, the more trading increases and the more income is generated for these guys. So we started seeing these private stakeholders amplifying our initial efforts, either in capacity building on post-harvest handling, more to the smallholder farmers. They started, we, as another end, we introduced in support of the MRM team, wonderful team. They came with tools, sales tools to capture the sales of these guys. They actually do sales. When you ask them, they really don't know what they are doing. They really don't know the capacity of what they are doing and how important sales could increase their working capital to access when they access credits from financial institutions. So there's more adoption of storage tech device came, more grains were sold. The initial complaint was that there were so many grains and they were not selling, because this increased because of behavioral change that increased as a result of they started meeting the market preferences for these processors and off-takers. They started leveraging on technology for trading, which bridged the gap and the turnaround time for sales and then payments and even relationship. Also, bringing to relationships now deepened as most of these private stakeholders came in. And I could tell you that more smallholder farmers we have reached. Initially, 2-3 partners reached about, maybe in the first quarter, they reached about 7,000 plus smallholder farmers, increased to about 11,000 plus. Right now, we are talking about almost 18,000 and more smallholder farmers that has been reached. Not just reached with climate smart trainings, reached with financial inclusive models where they now have wallet accounts to do transactions. They now understand how to trade. Now, when you talk about the aggregators that have been onboarded, we have apps, technological apps now. They are now leveraging technology for green trading. And this is really unheard of. It's if initially when we started, we'll say this will happen. I really think a lot of people will not believe. But now imagine what the private partners are doing and our partners are doing, and really taking over from what we are doing, which is what we wanted, and to scale most of our initial efforts sustainably. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mohammed. I hear you very clearly, what your intervention has done, and also seeing that the collaborations is also yielding results in terms of the actors in that space are already taking responsibility, taking up those initiatives which you are also driving. Nansel, I know you have been itchy to speak. For me, my question to you directly is, how has because if you look at, Mohammed made reference to without that green aggregation, linking it also to also the farmers, the smallholder farmers. So for me, how has what you have done in that space, how has it strengthened the grain market, and has it also played a key role in the livelihood of smallholder farmers? Because he said something, I'll quote him very shortly. He said, standards and quality start from the farm with the smallholder farmers. Even as that transaction is happening, has it also played a very key role in the lives of the smallholder farmers that are part of this aggregation and trade?
All right. Thank you, Kelvin. Now, let me just write on what Mohammed just highlighted then. From that angle then, how has that entered the life of the smallholder farmers then? One, around post-harvest losses, which Mohammed have made it clear that if at all the grain market now survive, that's from the farmer, the smallholder farmer, because the smallholder farmers now supply grains market. Without the smallholder farmers now, the grain market will not be there. And if there are post-harvest losses around the smallholder farmers, then now the supply in the grain market be either less than what is expected. So now the intervention now look at it now. So what can we do as an intervention now to reduce post-harvest losses from the grain market? Then we now came up with post-harvest losses standards, quality standards. And we did a capacity building to smallholder farmers, lead farmers, then around post-harvest losses, quality. At the market level now, that's at the smallholder level then. Then at the market level now, we now did something around collaborating with the produce department and post and pest control. Produce department and pest control within the AG states in collaboration with them now. Already now there's a standard at which a grain enter the market and is supposed to maintain that quality. After harvest, it shouldn't be with much chaff, to be well threshed. And now, after that, now with our intervention now, it comes to a point whereby there's a rule in the market. If a grain enter the market, they will now look at it. Who bring this grain? A farmer bring the grain. Already, you were being built based on standards and post-harvest losses. Then now, as far as the grain enter the market, then now that grain has to be well threshed and meet up the standard of the market. That's at the market level.
Yeah.
After which, really take care of the households, the smallholder level. Then at the market level now, if a grain entered, it has to meet up a standard in the market level. Aside, that's after building the capacity of the smallholder farmers and likewise the market actors, that's the grain merchants. And that's the changes then. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. There's still one question I'll still ask, but I think I'll just take this question. I'll split this question between you and Mohammed. So it is also very important that as a development facilitator, you've played a very key role in ensuring these initiatives go very well. For me, I'm asking a very specific question around what message do you have for other facilitators, market facilitators, like, for example, like the consortium that is doing within the Northeast? What do you think? How do you think they should approach market facilitation in the grain aggregation and trade sector? That is one. Then also, finally, because it will also be very, very good for individuals or participants who are online to also understand if you were able to address those main challenges, and if you were not able to address those main challenges, what were those challenges that are still astounding that you think they need to also watch out for going forward? Mohammed, I think you should start first, then I'll go to Nancy.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Basically, from your questions as market translators, we've really done a lot, and I think the best approach was actually the market-based approach, which we actually use. What is it? It is the market systems development approach, because when you talk about what a market is basically where, forget what we learned in econs or commerce, it's basically a place where value is exchanged. Value in the sense that we met them in a particular state. They've been affected, shocks and stresses in different ways, from insurgencies to knowledge too was really, the knowledge gap too was really, it wasn't as if they didn't know, but we just have this stuff. You're used to what I'm used to, what we've been doing. So why change what is working for us, even if I'm not getting the proper yield or getting the right income for what I am putting my effort in. So that's why I say is an exchange of value in that we came in, not we not say facilitating. We facilitated with knowledge and so many things we've highlighted we did. And what we did in turn was that we were learning and adapting as we gave them, as we came with our intervention. We didn't just come with a one solution for everything. We wanted to learn, we wanted to adapt, because we also knew there were still emerging issues coming that will still impact. A lot came. We knew a lot came from the Naira redesigning, the elections came, the fluctuating prices in FX, the transportational costs, a whole lot of things came. So it was good that it was a market-based approach, like a market system approach, where system development approach, where we were willing to learn in places we didn't know, and willing to accept that we have failed, not just failing, but we failed upwards because we were learning. So my advice to other districts, that what would have done better was, in no particular order, was for more sustainability, was to promote inclusion in commodity trading. A lot. I'll use we now, is that we are comfortable with the gender we were working with and the part of it. When I say inclusion, I'm not really talking about only gender. I'm talking about youth, the excluded, the market people excluded, people living with disabilities. So we keep forgetting that the majority of the workforce comes from that part. And once the workforce is dealt with, it means there's a replacement of the aging one, and it means there's more efforts into, and we get more results when there's more effort in a proper way. Another place I think would have done better, and for market facilitators to follow suit or to do, is more exposure visits, because exposure visits, we started a bit late, is a mind opener. It's a mind opener, and it helps with a quicker behavioral change. Because when you come and you go out and you see your other peers doing things differently and it's working for them, that is the greatest experience and learner you need to start doing the same thing to get the same result. Because if, Kelvin, you do something that is working for you, then I will do the same thing, let it work for me. So it helps to make people adopt new techniques, speaking, exposure visits. Then we had a poor stakeholder mapping of mainly private participants and government participants, government stakeholders we would work with. We were looking at the high-end people, when we had other lower people we could involve, and those people will start before we now scale up and bring in. There's a place for everybody in the hierarchy, from the lower one to the higher echelon of stakeholders. We were looking at the high end when we were supposed to start with the lower ones and bring these people in before, for collaboration, before we now start stepping into big organizations like FX, like all those other guys, then for collaboration, and bring in agribusiness groups to help improve the marketing and sales of these guys. Lastly, but not in the least, is for most people to facilitate a very good market system governance within the market, and from the government stakeholder part for sustainability. Sustainability, I've said it so much. So if what we are doing, we can't come in 5 years' time and see this thing still being done, then I could say we failed.
Yeah.
So basically, this is what I think other players coming into this sector, trying to bring intervention on grain aggregation and commercialization should do. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Nansel, your thoughts finally on this?
Thank you, Mohammed, for that. So my thought around that is to pick all those market actors, very important. All the market actors, they're very much important. And around that, it's good to identify the key things that need to be addressed. You know, for our own intervention, now we address like 2, 3 key things. 1, for service handling. 2, around storage. 3, that's the policy and governance in the market. You know, if at all now other IPs will come in Northeast, it's very good for them now to identify key things that is needed to be addressed within the Northeast, and to pick everybody is from on-farm to the market. You know, if we are other market actors now need to address the whole thing now, it starts from on-farm. And when it's on-farm now, it's not around post-harvest. It's pre-harvest. Losses happen pre-harvest. Come to harvest, then you reach the market. You know, whatever that happen in the on-farm affect the market. You know, if at all they need to address anything now, is need to start on-farm and down to the market. Market should be treated as a different entity, then likewise on-farm, all the farmers should be treated differently. And key things need to be addressed: why and what, when and how. Why is that? Yes, there's going to be losses on farm. When the losses happening? Losses happen when farmers are harvesting from the farm. Where? On farm. What? Losses.
Yeah.
So there are key things now, like 5 key things: why, when, how, and what. And when. Those are the 5 things that need to be addressed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nansel. Thank you for your time and also giving us an opportunity to share thoughts on what you have done in the grain and aggregation and trade sector, precisely in the Northeast. Like I said, this is an avenue where the rural resilience activity uses this platform to share learnings, and also we are an activity that wants to influence stakeholders who are working within the space where we are trying to promote some development initiatives. And for us, it is more about adding more value to wherever we find wherever we are intervening. And I was happy to also bring on board my colleagues, Nansel Moses and Mohammed Abubakar. Both of them are uh, agribusiness experts. One is more on farm, like Nancy Moses, and one is a core agribusiness specialist. As you can see, they are smiling because this is their area of their area where they know their what they are doing. So I would like to thank everyone who has joined this live session. Like I said, this is a learning series. We come in uh, quite often to share learnings from whatever we are doing with our projects in the Northeast. Like I said, we aim to also influence development practitioners, private sector, with respect to approaches to ensuring sustainable development in whatever areas that they are doing, that it also builds on resilience. We'll have um, more learning series, and we'll also notify participants via our different platform, such as the LinkedIn and the Facebook page. Once you see this learning series, just know that we're ready to give out knowledge. This is part of our way of contributing to the body of knowledge within the agribusiness and the development space. On this note, I would like to thank everyone.
Hello, Kelvin.
Yeah, Mohammed.
I don't know if before you end, I could just give a little ending notes about
Yeah.
how a strengthened and resilient grain marketplace and how important it is to the livelihood of households, smallholder
All right.
households. Just brief.
Very quickly. Very quickly.
Okay, basically, what I think should be a strengthened, inclusive, and resilient grain markets playing on livelihoods of smallholder household is one that promotes economic growth and development, using opportunities for every player to be involved in trading, eliminating, most importantly, marginalization. It should be one that reduces poverty and inequality, creating access to income generating activities in at household level. It should also encourage innovation and creativity, basically giving diverse ideas and perspectives that would lead to new innovative, new improved business model. It should also be one that fosters social cohesion, giving a sense of belonging for every stakeholder at every level in the household level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's coming from an agri business and development expert. You really touched on a very key point there. Thank you very much once again, everybody. I will hope to notify you when the next learning series will be coming up, and we'll do that as quickly as possible so that we can let everybody have that on their calendars, on their learning plan or so that they can also join us. Thank you very much, Mohamed Abubakar and Nansel Moses, for your expertise.
Thank you very
To
much.
all my participants, see you next time. Thank you.